The sun rises over the Sonoran Desert, painting the red rocks in gold and shadow. Wind drifts across cactus fields, carrying dust and memories. Once these canyons echoed with the howl of wolves, the thunder of elk, and the silent stalk of spotted cats. Here, in a land built of stone and heat, life fought for every breath. Yet even in this place of survival, the wild has known loss. Species that adapted for thousands of years disappeared in the heartbeat of history. This is Arizona, a kingdom of extremes where beauty burns bright and silence remembers everything. These are the lost creatures of the desert, the mountains, and the rivers. The voices that shaped the Southwest and then faded into the sand. Long before highways cut across its deserts and cities rose from its valleys, Arizona was a kingdom of giants and shadows. The land we now know as Cactus and Canyon was once cool grassland and ancient savanna, roamed by mammoths with sweeping tusks and armored glyptodons the size of cars. Saber-toothed cats waited in ambush among mesquite trees, while giant ground sloths shook the earth as they moved slowly across fertile plains. The air was colder then, the nights long and wild. The first humans walked this land in awe and fear, sharing space with beasts far older and far stronger than themselves. Yet as the Ice Age ended, the climate shifted. Grasslands dried, forests retreated, and one by one the giants faded into stone and memory. But the story did not end with mammoths. Even after the ice melted, Arizona remained alive with creatures as fierce, brilliant, and irreplaceable as the blazing sun. And soon, their voices would fall silent too. Number 8. The Carolina Parakeet. It may be hard to imagine amid saguaros and desert heat, but once flashes of emerald and gold streaked through Arizona's river valleys. The Carolina Parakeet, America's lost parrot, was more than an eastern bird. Its range reached along riparian corridors into the southwest. In cottonwood groves and sycamore shade, their bright feathers shimmered like living jewels in the desert sun. Curious, loyal, and loud, they traveled in flocks so large their wings sounded like rushing water. They fed on thistles and riverbank seeds, spreading life wherever they flew. But beauty made them targets. Feathers for hats, farmers with shotguns, shrinking forests, all carved away at a species that only knew how to trust. By 1918, the last Carolina parakeet died in captivity, and Arizona's rivers, once alive with color and wild laughter, have never seen wings like theirs again. Number 7. Merriam's elk. Before ranch fences and railroads divided the land, Merriam's elk roamed Arizona's grasslands and ponderosa pine forests in proud herds. They were larger than today's elk, desert-hardened and resilient, moving through the high country like silent monarchs. Their bugles once echoed across the Mogollon Rim, through cool mountain mornings and starlit frontier nights. But as settlers arrived, the elk stood little chance. Hunted for meat, hides, and sport, they fell quickly. By the early 1900s, the last Merriam's elk vanished from Arizona, gone before many even knew they existed. The elk seen in Arizona today are strangers to this soil, reintroduced from Yellowstone, thriving but not native to this land. A reminder that even when nature returns, it rarely returns unchanged. Number 6. The Mexican gray wolf. In the cool shadow of Arizona's mountains, once roamed a hunter built for endurance and intelligence, the Mexican gray wolf. Smaller than its northern cousin, but fierce, loyal, and cunning, it moved like a whisper across canyons and pine forests, following elk trails and deer migration paths older than maps. Ranchers feared it, governments targeted it, and one of the Southwest's most important predators was trapped, poisoned, and shot until the wild fell silent. By the mid-1900s, the Mexican wolf was gone from Arizona's wilderness, a ghost remembered only by elders and old tracks in fading soil. Yet some stories refuse to end. Today, through careful reintroduction, their howls are returning to the night. Fragile, few in number, but alive. A reminder that the desert forgives, but never forgets. Number 5. The Mexican grizzly bear. There was once a time when Arizona knew giants, not just in legend, but walking across open plains and wooded slopes. Among them was the Mexican grizzly bear, a massive silverbacked monarch of the Southwest. Larger and heavier than most northern grizzlies, it roamed from Mexico into Arizona's high country, digging roots, overturning logs, and commanding the land with quiet authority. But strength was not enough to save it. Ranchers viewed it as a threat, governments offered bounties, and a campaign of bullets and traps followed. By the early 1900s, the last Arizona grizzly had fallen, shot in a remote canyon by men who believed they were protecting their world, never realizing they were ending another. Today, mountains where grizzlies once stood feel emptier. The earth they turned, the trees they scratched, and the trails they forged now lie silent, reminders that even the fiercest can be taken by fear. Number 4. The Jaguar. Deep in Arizona's canyons and shadowed mountains once prowled a ghost of spots and silence. The Jaguar. Long before borders were drawn, this powerful cat ruled the Southwest, its roar rolling across desert hills and riparian forests. With muscles built for ambush and a jaw strong enough to pierce skulls and turtle shells, it was the undisputed king of the Sonoran wild. But as cattle replaced deer and farms replaced forests, the jaguar became a target. Hunted for trophies and feared as a threat, it vanished from Arizona by the mid-20th century. Only rare wanderers now cross the border from Mexico, lone males searching for territories where no female remains. Arizona still remembers its shadow. In the hush of dusk, in the stillness of canyon stone, you can almost feel the presence of a cat that once owned this land, and may yet return if the wild is allowed to breathe again. Number 3. The Colorado Pikeminnow. In Arizona's rivers once swam a giant unlike any fish you see today, the Colorado Pikeminnow. Sleek, silver, and built for speed, it could grow over 6 feet long, making it the largest native freshwater fish in North America. Local tribes told stories of its strength, of a fish that could pull canoes and vanish in a flash of muscle and water. For thousands of years, it ruled the currents of the Colorado River system. But dams slowed those waters, canals drained them, and introduced species ate their young. The river that shaped the desert changed, and the pikeminnow disappeared from Arizona's streams, leaving only stories and scientific records behind. Today, its home still flows, but the giant is gone. In the silent depths, the river remembers what it once carried. Number 2. The thick-billed parrot. The desert seems like no place for parrots, yet Arizona once knew the flash of emerald wings and the echoes of sharp, playful calls. The thick-billed parrot, bold and intelligent, once flew over Arizona's high mountain forests, feeding on pine seeds and nesting in old woodpecker hollows. Flocks burst through the sky like emerald storms, calling to one another in fierce loyalty and constant chatter. But hunters mistook them for game birds, cutting bright feathers from the heavens. Logging stripped their nesting forests, and by the early 1900s their voices faded from Arizona's skies. Attempts to bring them back in the 1980s failed. Predator attacks, habitat changes, and human pressure proved too strong. Today they survive only in Mexico's mountains. Yet sometimes on a quiet pine ridge in Arizona, birdwatchers still pause, listening for the echo of wings that should never have left. Number 1. Sonoran Pronghorn and cave shadows. In the shimmering heat of the Sonoran Desert lives a creature built for speed and survival, the Sonoran Pronghorn. With eyes wide to watch the horizon and legs crafted for flight, it is the fastest land animal in North America's deserts. Once, herds swept across southern Arizona like tawny lightning, racing the wind across open sands. But fences rose, water vanished, and military training zones fractured their world. By the early 2000s, only a handful survived. A species designed to outrun coyotes could not outrun human change. Through desperate conservation, they cling to life now. Fragile, protected, but never again as free as they once were. And beneath Arizona's deserts, in wet caverns untouched by sunlight, lived tiny cave creatures, amphipods and minnows found nowhere else on Earth. When groundwater dropped and pollution crept in, these secret beings faded without a sound. No witness, no monument. Above and below, desert life teeters, swift and unseen, both fighting to remain more than memory. Arizona's story is not only one of loss, it is also one of return. In the quiet of desert nights, the howl of the Mexican grey wolf once again rises over the pines. Slowly, carefully, one paw print at a time, they reclaim the ground their ancestors once ruled. The Sonoran Pronghorn, once down to only a few dozen, now sprints again across protected desert sands, thanks to relentless conservation efforts. Humans finally choosing to protect what they once threatened. Even the rivers, though scarred, awaken in places where restoration flows, hinting at a future where native fish may claim their waters again. Arizona's wild is scarred, but not defeated. In every rescued wolf pup, every pronghorn fawn, every protected canyon and renewed spring, there is proof that life, even fragile life, fights to return. The land remembers, and when we choose to listen, we help it heal. As dusk settles over the desert, the last heat fades and the sky turns violet and gold. Shadows stretch across saguaro arms and rugged stone, and the land grows quiet, but never truly still. This is a place where silence speaks, where the ground carries ancient footsteps, and the wind remembers every voice that once called this wilderness home. The jaguar's stealth, the wolf's song, the parrot's flash of emerald light. They are woven into the dust, etched into canyon walls, whispered in mountain winds. Arizona has lost much, but its spirit endures in every heartbeat that still roams its plains and forests. The desert teaches us that life is fragile, beauty is fleeting, and extinction is forever. But it also shows us resilience, the strength to survive, to adapt, to rise again. This was Lost Creatures of Arizona. Next, Lost Creatures of Arkansas. Some voices are gone, others whisper still, and the future depends on which ones we choose to hear.